So J.B Bickerstaff knew what we all knew, which was it's always a bad idea to actually have a spider on your basketball team, as good old Donovan Mitchell, it appears, has finally slipped some venom into J.B Bickerstaff's back. Bickerstaff was, of course, let go by the Cleveland Cavaliers a little earlier in the day. I mean, despite the fact that he actually led a disgruntled bunch of basketball players to the Eastern Conference semifinals this year, despite the fact that he had actually got this particular team to win 99 games over the last 2 seasons, despite the fact that in his 5 seasons with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you have to remember when he took over for John Beeline how bad they were, it took about 12 to 16 months before they were no longer bad for Bickerstaff to change the, if you will, the culture and actually get back to some level of winning ways. He finished his 5-year stint with 170 wins and 159 losses. But once again, a lot of those losses came during the first 16 months of his coaching stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's just give Bickerstaff his due. He did an absolutely fantastic job with a roster that, quite frankly, wasn't really all that good, with a roster at times that didn't make that much sense, and towards the end of this particular season was dealing with a bunch of players who basically wanted him gone. All of that, he still was able to actually lead his team to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Now, if you remember, during the Eastern Conference semifinals, Donovan Mitchell got hurt and didn't play in the last 2 games against the Boston Celtics. I'm not saying he couldn't play. I am saying that maybe he really didn't want to play. Donovan Mitchell did not play in the last 2 games against the Celtics, and they ended up getting beat 5-1 in that particular series. Then all sorts of reports came out. Shams reported that Darius Garland does not want to stay in Cleveland if Donovan Mitchell stays. A story leaked that Donovan Mitchell wanted the head coach gone. Another story surfaced that early in the season they had talked about moving Evan Mobley, but had shifted their thoughts around to Jared Allen, because Jared Allen got hurt and then apparently refused to take a shot, which would have allowed him to actually play. Look, at the end of the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers organization as a whole has a lot on its plate. They have some difficult decisions to make. Do they go ahead and bring Donovan Mitchell back after they gave up all of those draft picks and all of those players to bring him in the first place? And do they give him in early July a contract extension that will most likely be for 4 years, $208 million to a guy who didn't play? I'm not saying that he couldn't play, but I am saying that he didn't play during the last 2 games of their series with the Boston Celtics. Look, this is a bit of a mess. So here's what I think is actually going to happen. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to do on the head coaching side. There's Kenny Atkinson, who's the assistant head coach in Golden State, as a potential. There are several other names that are going to be floated as well. At the end of the day, assuming that Donovan Mitchell signs that contract extension, assuming that he indicates he's going to sign that contract extension in July, Mitchell will certainly be a key decision maker in who ultimately becomes the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers going forward. That is the reality of this situation. Right or wrong, that is the reality of this situation. So, we've all heard of all of the rumors of J.J. Redick potentially becoming the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, if that doesn't happen, get ready for the J.J. Redick to the Cleveland Cavaliers as their head coach. to say that I think Donovan Mitchell and J.J. Redick would actually get along. Maybe they'll get along during the interview process, but I guarantee Mitchell will have problems with J.J. Redick. That being said, the other big thing on their plate, though, outside of the Donovan Mitchell piece, is moving Darius Garland. Darius Garland, who before Mitchell joined the team was averaging between 21 and 22 points a game. This past season had dipped down to about 18. Basically, what it comes down to is there's just not enough basketballs in the backcourt between Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Garland has reportedly asked to be traded if Donovan Mitchell remains with the team. Also, it looks like they'll also move Jarrett Allen at this point because Evan Mobley actually did play really well down the stretch. In fact, he shot over 38% from the three-point arc during this past season. Now, I mean, he didn't shoot the ball a lot, but he certainly improved dramatically over previous years. So I think that's what they're going to go ahead and do. And there's all sorts of trade possibilities out there for them. Two key players that should be able to bring back additional draft picks as well as actual players that could actually put around Donovan Mitchell that would actually make sense. Look, they have a strong enough core to actually be a contender in the Eastern Conference as it stands today. They are just a couple pieces away, but if you have a point guard that can't get along with a shooting guard or a small forward, then you have to make some tough decisions, and it looks like that's what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to do. You know, one thing is for certain, though, in the National Basketball Association that hasn't really changed in quite some time. If you've got players that complain a lot, if you got players that happen to tweet about their own head coach, the players ultimately control who the head coach is and who will remain a head coach on their team once they get hired. All right, that is it for the Underrated today. Tell me what you think, North America. Go ahead and check out our Big Sports website at underrated.media when you have a chance. And, of course, sign up for our newsletter for the Underrated. I am Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.